say the whole history, but you know what I'm trying to say. The more the slave master, that's what make you light skinned. Your blackness has been diluted.
I'm going to work. All right, see you.
I fuck with you, baby.
Have a good day.
Very seldom you meet good-looking women with brains and sass. And sass. And you were obviously working as a nurse. You care about people.
Yeah.
You lucky she your cousin. I thought she was your girl. But now that I know she ain't none of that, my attraction to her is just up. See, I like the same type of man. Shorter, stocky, somewhat Puerto Rican or Dominican. Wow. This is the lost files, man. It's the lost files. Why do you do this shit? Why do you put this out here with nothing here? Like, why do you do this, man?
I don't know. You might get some raw.
You get the raw footage, I know, but this ain't what I want to do. I want to have it organized. I want to have it.
Everybody got it organized.
You know what I'm saying? I want to have like the page that I could show where they got age from with a grant from the Department of Defense in 1969. And even to this day, for those who may be a little squeamish about that and a little conspiracy theory-ish, all you got to do is look up where the Army and the military have their infectious disease control, or where they have their laboratory or their base for biological diseases, and I guarantee you it's going to be somewhere in Maryland. My research says me Fort Detrick, Maryland. Look it up right now, because that's where the United States government manufactured AIDS virus with a $10 million grant in 1969 from the Department of Defense. Again, right now, Google China and the coronavirus. It's coming out now that the coronavirus is a disease that they manufactured in China that escaped the lab. Sort of like 12 monkeys. Y'all think these movies be fake. The movies ain't fake, bro. The movies is basically on some predictive programming shit where they program stuff and then it happens. Again, y'all saw 12 Monkeys. Y'all saw World War Z. Y'all saw I Am Legend. And all the movies was basically based on a situation. Yeah, hold up.
You know you're still alive.
Yeah, man, listen, man. Like I said, this is all your fault because you like taping people in different levels of delusion. When I just be coming over here freestyling, trying to get it together. You know, we're supposed to have a staff. We're supposed to have graphics. We're supposed to have all kind of background stuff. But you and your devious mind state,
got this.
You just start taping me and taping what we doing without no warning. So I don't have no time to organize anything. And what somebody's greatest weakness is also their greatest strength. Like me being a freestyle artist, a freestyle rapper, it's very easy for me to adjust and just start talking because I have a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge. I could speak knowledgeably about many a subject, whether it's government conspiracy, whether it's biological agents, whether it's certain diseases that seem to be manufactured out of the thin air whenever they need a distraction or something to take your attention off what's really going on in the world. Magically, here comes Ebola. Magically, here comes West Nile virus. You know what I'm saying? Now the new one is the coronavirus, you know. But anybody can look on the back of the Lysol can and see that the coronavirus can be defeated by Lysol. Now, that could be false advertisement. I don't know, but I challenge you to look on the back of the modern Lysol can, and you could definitely see that coronavirus is, stopped by Lysol. But listen, what I really wanted to talk about today was using words as weapons, definitions, how the English language is somewhat handicapped and handcuffed in our ability to communicate what we actually feel and what we actually want to say. Now, first, we're going to start off on the definition of the fact that it's an age gap, it's a culture gap, and it's an education gap. To a sense that when you play this game, I'm going to say a word, and you say the first word that comes to your mind. For most of us, born in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. When you say apple, our first reaction would probably be one of three words: apple pie, apple sauce, or apple juice. That's, top 5 answers. Survey says, Richard Dawson and all that, Family Feud, top 5 answers for apple. Bang. Today, when you talk about Apple, the first thing a young person is probably going to think of is an iPhone or Steve Jobs or something on that line, because they have taken the symbol of the apple and made it synonymous with an iPhone, with a computer, or with an iPad. Being as that the diets that most of us deal with nowadays have very little to do with fruits, people don't realize that folks like me grew up off of an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So that was subliminally seasoning us to know that a diet high in fruit would lead you to be much more healthy and less in contact with the doctor or the hospital system or the healthcare system, or what I like to call it, the medical mafia. As long as you got enough money, you can live another 6 months. They tell you got 3 months to live, then you can pay the bill, they give you 3 months. But I digress. Again, the whole purpose of what goes on here with Dimes of Dope is to educate, entertain, inspire, and motivate. And I'm not going to lie, I'm somewhat of a controversial person. I'm somewhat of an attention junkie. I'm somewhat of a child who always loved to get on my teacher's nerves by asking them questions that they could not answer. For instance, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. 3 don't go into 1. How you gonna take math rules out the window when it comes to religion? Eric Banks, you gonna burn in hell. Eric Banks, you the devil. How you gonna tell a child he the devil because he asking a question you can't answer? A little later on, we get to West Catholic. By this time, I'm drinking Old English. I'm drinking Mad Dog. I'm drinking Thunderbird. Whatever. Mind you, I'm 14. I'm running the streets, hip hop and house parties. Whatever. This is what I'm doing. Still, I'm going to West Catholic. Still, I'm a star athlete. Still, I'm in track 1, which means I'm getting college preparatory work. I still have to do homework every night. I still have assignments. I still got to read the Newsweek magazine and talk about the Cold War between the United States and Russia. Yeah, they had me on it like that. I had geometric problems. I had to solve pi times the radius square, A, B, C plus D equal whatever. You know how that go. The angles and the Pythagorean theorem. Well, maybe you don't. But if you got high classified college preparatory work, then you would know about that type of stuff. So I say all that to say that I was doing all that at the same time that I was drinking Mad Dog 2020 and Wild Irish Rose and smoking bags of marijuana with the smiley faces on them, when you would get a dime of weed that would almost be as fat as a pillowcase and the whole hood could get high for the whole weekend. Now I am capping and exaggerating some. But anybody from them times know that a dime of weed was a hefty quality of marijuana and our debt. And it would supply the needs of however many people that you had around you at that particular time. So we was back with words. And Philadelphia is the only place in the world where I think that if somebody asks you, are you good? That is also not only a question, but a threat. You good over here? You are? You good? Yeah, man. So back to the apple. Back to you good. Back to this. Yo, I'm getting ready to run down on that chick, man. Get ready to holler at her real quick, man. Try to, get my shit off, get some yams or whatever. So you know exactly what I just said. But if you don't speak English, or if you wasn't born in America, or if you don't speak slang, you're going to get a totally misinterpreted definition of what I just said. Holler at somebody in yams in traditional English, that does not give you the connotation or the definition of what I just said. You're totally lost in the sauce. My point is that when you're dealing with religion, when you're dealing with history, when you're dealing with politics, a lot of times what we're dealing with is words and, I guess you could say, situations and stories that if you don't know the history of the situation or you don't know the history of the word, you're going to get the wrong misinterpretation and the wrong definition of the story or what the actual author was trying to say. For instance, if you look at the word son, S-U-N, instead of the word son, S-O-N, you would understand a little bit better when the gods say, I call my brother son because he shined like one. It would also give you a totally different interpretation of the Son of God. Now, it's one thing to pray to a man who has ascended to the level of a God. It's another thing to pray to a physical entity of a son, because you know that if that sun does not rise the next day, we are all going to die. No sun, no plants, no food, no us, no sun, no heat. We just a ball of rocks spinning in the middle of space. Space, if you ever look at anything that goes on in space, they always talk about the temperature. They always talk about the things that freeze. They always talk about, when you go to the Benjamin Franklin, come on, help me out here. Benjamin Franklin Parkway, and then they have the Art Museum. But then they have the other thing with the sciences, the Science Center on the Parkway, where you learn about the sciences and the gases, and they have the dinosaur exhibit and all that. The Museum of Natural Sciences. You understand what I'm saying? And then they have another one where they have the telescope, and you get to look in the stars. See, I get all that confused because it's been so long since I've been, I guess you could say, working in the schools. I do work in the schools, but I work with, let's just say I work with children who would not necessarily be trusted to get on the bus and go to the Franklin Institute or the Art Museum or the Living Learning or the Living Sciences Center or any place like that where you have to have organization and structure and discipline. And they have security guards and police there who may or may not decide to exercise their legal principle on a young youth. And this is why a lot of times I don't go to those places anymore, because the type of youths that I'm working with and type of schools that I'm working at and the type of programs that I'm working in are usually programs for, how should I say, behaviorally challenged, mentally delayed, and socially inadept individuals, which means generally they are the products of the crack babies and the dope fiends that we talk about in our rhymes sometimes. Robin Harris used to always call somebody a crack baby. A lot of times we talk about the crackheads and the dope fiends and all that. I'm not knocking nobody. I'm just telling you what we talk about, and what we don't realize is a lot of these women, and also a lot of the men who impregnate these women, your addictions, your chemical imbalances, your fears, all the things that may or may not be right, or should we say wrong about you, that's passed through the blood, that's passed through the sperm, that's passed through the urethra and into the egg. This is why they tell you not to drink and not to smoke and not to take drugs when you're pregnant. This is why you should watch your diet when you're pregnant, because all the things that the mother consumes in her body eventually goes into the body of the fetus, eventually goes into the body of the egg that, God willing, will go on to be a person. So, all these things is connected, the words, the energies, the philosophies, and all of that there. As you can see, I am the Mitchell and Ness poster boy, OG EBIZZLE, Philly 444 representative. OG EBIZZLE, Minister of Information and Propaganda for the mighty PTG Bird Gang, Hilltop Hustler, everybody's favorite old head. I'm a student, I'm a scholar, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm an uncle, I'm a father figure. I'm probably one of, if not the best freestyle artist on the streets of Philadelphia today, and I've been that since 1985, as Will Smith. ask Steady B, ask Cool C. Well, unfortunately, you can't ask Cool C or Steady B unless you write them up Death Row. And that's not a shot. That's just a fact of life and interesting story to tell about how in 1986, when I graduated high school and was on my way to Widener University, I saw Stead in Watson's Barbershop on 60th and Lansdowne. And for those who know, might not know, might find it interesting, hip-hop history, Stead was on way before Will Smith was, way before Fresh Prince was. Stead was in England and Japan and going all over the world and all over the country doing hip-hop and doing Bring the Beat Back and, talking about taking LL's radio. That was one of his first hits, telling LL he'll take his radio, do the Fila, all that, man. That was Stead. My point is that he was making money. He was on MTV Raps. He was on, what was that called? Video Jukebox and all of that. So at our level, he was super, super successful. I mean, I saw his poster down Sound to Upper Darby. I mean, that's my young boy. I lived on Hilltop. We did house parties together. When we was on Prison Rapping, he was breakdancing, And these ain't shots. This ain't me trying to disrespect nobody because I know how y'all like to look at things. This is me giving you a history of me, why it's important for somebody like me to have a podcast, because my energy, my history, and my story is really the story of hip-hop in Philadelphia. Because when I was hip-hopping and when I was starting off, even our parents, it wasn't so much the system, it wasn't so much the white folks, it was the black parents and the old heads who told us hip-hop would never last. It was a bunch of jungle music and y'all stealing off a disco. Y'all just taking records and rapping over top of them. A booga, 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 booga. That's, that was my pop. That was a lot of old heads. So we didn't get the support that rappers get today. I mean, my God, we had to sneak hip hop tapes in the school. And at this time, you was lucky to have a Walkman. So a lot of times you would play them in the library, or when you had free time, they would let you use the cassette players and you would stick the earphones like these into the cassette player and listen to the hip hop. God forbid you was blasting it out and it was cursing or anything like that. Nobody wasn't going for that in the late 70s, early 80s, man. Hip hop was a cult. It was a literal cult. Like if you couldn't read the graffiti on the flyers, you didn't even know it was a party. So, and if you wasn't cool, nobody told you about the party because we couldn't tell you about the party because the party was being held in somebody's house or somebody's mama who was going on a bus excursion to Atlantic City, and we knew she wasn't going to be back till 3 a.m, and the house party would go on from 9 to 2. And then from 2 to 3, you clean everything up. So by the time mama come back, she never knew it was 100 niggas and bros in the basement jamming in her house. You know what I mean? Then we had the illegal rent parties where you stole the electricity and partied in somebody's basement or a bando and charged them $1 to get in there. And if you had an enterprising parent or an enterprising street promoter, they would sell 40s for $2, $2.50 if it was Old English or whatever. Sometimes prices would vary. Tall boys $1. Tall boys was the 16 ounces because we grew up at a time when most beer cans was 12 ounces. Magically, for some reason, when malt liquor came out, when hip hop came out, I could be wrong. I'm just going on my memory and my history. The beers changed from 12 ounces to 16 ounces, and that's when the word tall boy came in to separate the beers. So I want the 16-ounce beer. I don't want the 12-ounce beer. Give me the tall boy. So they was being sold for $1. You might have a free glass of punch. Now, at that time, we used to call it grog, when you would take some grain alcohol or some real powerful 100% alcohol or liquor and pour that whole bottle in a punch joint and then fill that up with Kool-Aid or fruit punch or lemonade or actually chop some fruit up in it. The white boys used to call it jungle juice. Sometimes we would have it at football practice, how crazy we was. But in the hood, it was called grog or just a drink, you know what I'm saying? And they would give you like a drink of that. And then any additional drink of that, you had to pay $1 for a Dixie cup, maybe a shot glass. We would use Dixie cups as shot glasses. And then also Like in Southwest Philly, my man Grand Wizard, rest in peace to his mama, she used to have platters where we would have macaroni or tuna salad, potato salad, and 3 chicken wings. And you would get that platter for $3. So, they would have the $3 platters, the $1 hollow of the shots, the $1 tall boys, and the $2 40 ounces. We'd be fucked up in there, bro. You know what I'm saying? And at this time, mix of weed, you was a little depressed and angry if you didn't get at least 5 fat joints out of a nick of weed. So 5 fat joints, depending upon who rolling them and how y'all break it down today with them crack vial weeds y'all be selling when y'all put weed in crack vials and trying to tell me it's a nick and a dime, depending upon, the level of that fuckery, we could probably get 3 to 4. No, we could probably get 2 healthy, super fat Dutchies out of a nick. We could definitely get 3 to 4 of them skinny ass Dust Bunny backwoods y'all niggas like to roll out of a nick. So 3 to 4 backwoods for $5, y'all niggas would be junkies forever right now. But that's the price that I'm talking about and the situation that I'm talking about. Again, with the words and the times and the culture and how hard it is for some of us old heads to adapt to the new lingo and also the new morals, where rats is cool, putting hands on women seem to be cool, dressing like a woman when you a man is cool, dressing like a man when you a woman is cool. And again, I'm not knocking anything. I'm just telling you that for somebody like me who grew up in the 60s, yeah, I was born in the 60s. This is a radical change for me. Now, in the 70s, some of them pimps and Superfly outfits was as tight as a South Philly parking spot. So I'm not just saying because you wear tight, feminine looking clothes that make you other than a man. What I'm saying is when you pull your pants down to pee, when you constantly got another man's penis in your mouth, whether figuratively or literally, when you always worrying about what somebody else is doing instead of concentrating on your business, to me, that makes you a little bit less than manly. Who you fucking, who you hanging out with, who you marry, who you raising your kids with, that's not really what I'm talking about, because that's not really none of my business. But when you want to make something public and you want to put it in front of somebody's face, such as me, who has an opinion, who has all kind of documented research on how the sheep are ready to be sheared, the secret government, the protocols of the wise men of Zion. And you can look all this stuff up if you don't believe me. But what I'm saying is constantly in this information, one of the main planks of their program is to effeminize, demasculize, and homosexualize a large percentage of the population. And this has nothing to do with religion. This has nothing to do with sex. This has to do with science. Population control. Those of us who are awake and aware know that there is an agenda called Agenda 21. We also know that there is something called social engineering. And we also know that there is something called the Tavistock Institute. And one of the propositions on Agenda 21 and one of the socially engineered conditions of the Tavistock Institute is they feel as though the world, and once again, it doesn't matter what you as an individual thinks. It doesn't matter what I as an individual thinks or believes. What matters is those that you have elected, those who that by the power of their money and their birthright have claimed dominion over the financial, political, and economic resources of the United States of America and the world. They believe this. They think these things, and they plan on using all their resources, economical, political, and religious to bring this thing into fruition. And one of the main planks is they believe that most of you are just, or should I say, most of us are just useless eaters. We live by our appetites. 61% of the people are called appetitives. Appetitive is a fancy Latin or Greek word for your appetite. You are controlled by your appetite. They can control you by food. They can control you by drugs. They can control you by liquor. Really, if you take away or present a new liquor, watch the reaction of the people. If you take away or bring back a new food, watch the reaction of the people. If you don't believe me, I give you the Popeye's chicken sandwich. Did we or did we not see people in different stages of dysfunction, in different stages of violence, and in different stages of aggression towards their fellow man, simply because there was no more chicken? Did we not see that? Did you not see video of people snapping out, laying hands on other people, or getting beat down by other people based off some discrepancy or argument revolving around a Popeye's chicken sandwich? A chicken sandwich that anybody from my generation knows grandmother and aunt made better. You know, recently I just had a Popeye's chicken sandwich. I basically broke down and gave that and said, you know, after 6 months to a year, I don't know how long it's been out, I've never had one. I said, let me go taste one so I could see what it's all about. And I must admit, it wasn't a bad sandwich. I'm a hater, man. I would hate you if I could, because I speak facts and I speak truth and I say how I really feel. And that's what makes you a hater nowadays, when you don't go along with the program, when you have the temerity to say that, hey, no, I don't think Kobe was better than Michael Jordan. God bless Kobe. I love him. He's one of the top 5 players ever, but you're not going to get me to admit that he was better than Michael Jordan. And you're not going to get me to admit that LeBron is better than Kobe. It's just not going to happen. And I don't think that I should be able to hate it because I have a different opinion than you, one that I could back up with just as many facts as you can. I mean, let's keep it real. I have book after book, document after document, folder after folder, flyer after flyer, certificate after certificate. And information and statistics can be used to make any argument that you want, because figures don't lie, but liars sure can figure. Now, for all of those who will watch this later in the future and see this at another date, I want you to really pause this at 27:53, because at 27:53 you're going to hear these words one more time. Figures don't lie, but liars sure can figure. I'm going to say that one more time because it's very, very important. Because people like to use statistics, they like to use quotes, they like to use quote unquote facts to base their argument and their opinion around. But I will tell you that liars, again, will lie. Figures don't lie, but liars sure can figure. So a liar will figure out a way to make his facts support his lie. I'm just telling you. For instance, they tell you that 1 out of every 4 black men is in jail or on probation. You so dumb you don't even realize that 3 out of 4 ain't. They always tell you about the 1 out of 4. That's 25%. That means 75% of us ain't on probation. We ain't in jail. And we are taking care of our kids. But yet all you hear on social media and all you hear in life is black man ain't shit. We ain't taking care of our kids. Again, this is statistical anomalies. This is how they use statistics to make you think something that's true that really ain't. I'm just saying. And I'm going to give you another one on the other side of things. You always see these videos of quote unquote white cops killing unarmed black civilians. But when I actually looked up the statistics, it's way more white folks that get killed by the cops every year than us. But why you never see those videos of that? Because it doesn't fit the schematics of the liars. They want you to think that every cop is out here ready to blow your head off. I worked at family court. I'm not going to tell you I worked for the police, but I work with them. If I'm coming in your house to do my probation and you stretch Armstrong out on the floor because they done ran up in your spot and got you spread eagle on the ground, hey, I'm going to say what I got to say to help you get out of that situation. So during the course of these processes, I get to know police. I get to talk to police. I get to see how they get down. And for the most part, the only thing the average cop is worried about is getting home to his wife and kids at the end of the day. They don't really give a fuck like that. They not out here enforcing the law, per se. You guys just make it easy for them by being the usual suspect and fitting the description. I'm just saying, man. I'm not going to tell you that there's not no racist, prejudiced cops out here. And some of the racist, prejudiced cops look just like you, but I'm going to digress because cops only got one color. Blue. The thin blue line. I'm just saying, bro. Did you know the first police started the day slavery ended? That cops is just glorified slave catchers? Did you know that slavery is illegal in the United States except when you're in prison? So when you're in prison, legally, by the definition of the Constitution, you are a slave. So for all of y'all who keep telling me that you could never be a slave, you would have died before you would have been a slave. You a slave today if you want State Road. You a slave today if you up Clarion. You a slave today if you up Schuylkill. You a slave today if you up Greenhaven. Yeah. You a slave today if you up SCI, Hootsdale. Yeah. I done sent a lot of letters. I done sent a lot of packs. I done sent a lot of JPEGs before they was called JPEG. Nigga. Yeah. So I know about that. But my point that I'm trying to make is, again, back to words and the definition and the meaning of them. Legally, if you are incarcerated, you are a slave. Again, in the Constitution of the United States, the 13th Amendment outlawed slavery, except if you are in jail. Look it up. I don't make things up. I add on. I put adjectives and adverbs. I garnish the onions. I garnish the tomatoes. I garnish the lettuce. But the actual fish is what make the hoagie. I'm going to say that again. I'm not making up the fish. I'm not adding the fish. I'm just bringing the accoutrements to the fish. The seasonings, the sauces, the lemon pepper, the adobo, the Old Bay. That's all I'm bringing. But the fish is the fish. See, y'all want to season up nothing and call it truth. Y'all want to season up nothing and call it facts. OG EBIZZLE can point you in the direction of everything I say. All of my words can be documented, can be Googled, can be looked up, can be researched. And of course, the person who don't do the research is going to think the person that does do the research is crazy. I don't know what to tell you. Twilight of the Gods. This don't have to be true, but I read this and I'm convinced that a lot of chapters in the Bible is talking about space battles between aliens. Read the book of Daniel again and substitute the roaring whirlwind for a spaceship. Substitute the roar of the lion for the battleship of an airplane. I'm just saying, and you might get a whole different definition of it. Those people in those times didn't have the words. See how we always getting back to words again? Because my man Dave Hill, Leroy, Sleep, a lot of other people, they tell me, hey, you talk a lot. You really talk good. You got a whole lot of information, but you be bouncing from subject to subject and you be losing people. We sticking to words. I may go from subject to subject, but in order to talk about them subjects, what do I have to use? Words. And words mean different things to different people. But the facts don't give a fuck about your feelings. And the fact is that the actual word that you're using does not mean what you think it means. The meaning that you have ascribed to the word does not actually flow to the frequency of that word. See, it's all about frequencies. See this microphone? It's got a frequency. It got an electrical number assigned to it on the keyboard. Your thoughts, your feelings, they all have electrical frequencies too. We just not plugged into the circuit board. It's why a lot of times your dog starts barking before the person walks up the steps. It's a lot of time the dog starts barking before your car even get on the block, because he's plugged, or that she's plugged into the frequency. You know, dogs' hearing is 1,000 times more powerful than ours. Their smell is 1,000 times more powerful than ours. So therefore, they pick up on frequency and waves that we don't pick up on. See, again, words, waves. When we talk about a wave, we mean like a movement, like a certain rapper got a wave. Like right now, Lil Baby, The Baby. There's so many Little Baby, the baby, baby this, baby that. Sometimes I get confused because in my day, nobody would call themselves a baby. It's always a man or Big Daddy or Big this or Big that. Nobody was calling themselves no baby. But listen, I digress. The baby, he got a wave right now. Yeah, that shit, it be popping. You know, a lot of times I don't know what the fuck they be saying, but I'm far from the hating over here. If something got rhythm, something got flow, I'm gonna fuck with it. I like to thank the people that's joining in. Again, we working the kinks out in this. I'm OG EBIZZLE, Minister of Information and Propaganda for the mighty PTG Bird Gang, 44 representing the Mitchell and Ness poster boy, and one of, if not the most controversial people on social media. I'm documented, I'm certified, and I don't seek credibility from folks who ain't credible. Now, I'm gonna run that by you again. 3714. Pause it at 3714. I do not seek credibility from individuals who themselves are not credible. One of the biggest problems in our community is people be looking for validation from people who ain't valid. How can you seek validation from an individual who ain't valid themselves? How can you seek acceptance from those who have not even accepted themselves? You cannot say that you accept and you love yourself, but yet you look in the mirror and lie to yourself every day. One thing I never did, I never lied to myself. I faced up to my rumors, I faced up to my allegations, I faced up to my scandals, and I dealt with them as a man. And I'm still here. The scandals is way far behind me. What I'm telling you is this. In everybody's life, a little rain must fall. But you niggas let people piss on you and tell you it's rain and then won't even let you buy an umbrella. But you get mad at me for telling you that the piss is rain instead of being mad at the motherfucker that pissed on you in the first place. Can I say that one more time, KO? People allow motherfuckers to piss on them. Tell them it's rain, and then won't allow them to get an umbrella to protect themselves. But you don't get mad at the motherfucker that pissed on you. You get mad at the person who tell you the rain is piss. The truth hurts so bad. That one scared the one viewer away. I had another viewer, but that one kind of scared him away. You know what I'm saying? But for me, what's going to be best is when these joints get reposted and rebroadcasted. That's what's going to pop everything off. Because
you gotta chop it up.
Yeah, we just working out the kinks right now. My man, he just tapes me. We got this in the footage. We doing it live. Personally, I don't think he gives a fuck much if you listen or watch, because we know where this is going. We know what's going to happen with this once magic gets added to it. See, me, I'm a meal. I don't need no fixings. I don't need no trimmings. That shit just add the extra to it See, the difference between my podcast and what I'm doing and what everybody else is doing is they doing it for ratings. They doing it for likes. They doing it for money. I would love ratings. I would love likes. And of course, a little for real. Never hurt nobody. But I do this because the people keep telling me to do it. I do this because dozens and dozens of people who got big things going for themselves, way more than what I got going for me, constantly tell me, oh, gee, you need a podcast. Every time I get sent to Facebook jail, somebody tells me, oh, gee, you need a podcast. Every time I get blocked and deleted on Instagram, every time Instagram snatches one of my posts, every time Instagram mutes one of my videos for violating their community standards, I get told I need a podcast. So now I have a podcast. It's called Dimes of Dope. Now, again, I always got information. I've always got books here. The Hidden Power, How to Unleash the Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I also have a diary from everything that happened in my life from September 2001, from the day the towers fell till spring 2002. Let's see what I was doing when the towers fell. Oh, this is actually after the towers fell. I'm sorry. This is September 28th. So I was probably a little bit before. I used to keep these diaries until, I would write all the way to the end, as you can see. That one goes from Friday, September 28th, 2001, all the way up to Monday, May 6th, 2002. Let's read what happened to me on May 6th, 2002. Although the pussy was good, I really enjoyed it. That Xanax and dust shit kind of turned me off. Although the pussy was good and I really enjoyed it, that Xanax and dust shit kind of turned me off. So reading that right there and looking at the time, I know what I was doing. I was somewhere in the Badlands, somewhere in Poppyville, probably around 6th and Clearfield, because between 6th and Clearfield and St. Allegheny, they had a really, really popping wet spot. And I'm not going to mention my man's name, but at this time, I wasn't really fucking with cable, but I still wanted to watch wrestling. And some of the Spanish boys, especially the Spanish drug dealers, they got a lot of little kids in their family, and they still love watching wrestling, so they always get the pay-per-view. And I would go down there and smoke up, eat the beans and the rice per meal, and, watch WWE, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm big in the Badlands. I'm good up there. Que pasa, mamacita, como está, loco, moyo, yo sé, me perro. Gang, gang. Anyway, I digress. So just reading that, I know I was down there getting some Uchi Wally Bang Bang because I don't mess with perks and I don't mess with Xannies and I definitely don't mess with dust. But what I found out from hanging around 6 and Clearfield was a lot of bad Jennifer Lopez, Bianca Sanchez type of females, they fuck with the wet heavy. They fuck with the wet heavy. They fuck with the Xannies heavy. You understand what I'm saying? So I caught me a scraggler, whatever. But I digress. I understand she's going through something with her baby's father, but that's no excuse for the pain and depression in her eyes. I hope she don't think I'm the one to save her, because I'm not. I'm down with the sex, but I don't feel them like some of them feel me. I was going to leave her ass in the bed, but she eventually got up. I guess her joint wore off. As she was laying there snoring, she reminded me of, who that? Shalito. After I dropped my paperwork off, I took her back to Alney. I knew she was going to get all emotional and wonder when she could see me again. I'm not the relationship type, sis. You can see me, that's about it. Luckily, we got out early today, and I was dead tired. My body won't recover from abuse and sex like it used to. I must be getting old. I saw Flash today, and he's just as backwards as ever. Omar left me a message, but I ain't get back. That's what happened on May 6, 2002. As you can see, I was much more wild and crazier back then. I was doing a lot more drugs. Let's see, 2002. That was almost 20 years ago. That was 18 years ago. 18 years ago. I was 32 years old, 33 years old. Yeah, I was 33 because I'm 51 now. 33 and 18 equal 51. Yeah, so I was 33. Still looking like I was 13. You understand what I'm saying? So, Muhammad Ali once said, anybody who is the same at 50 as they was at 20 wasted 30 years of their life. I'm totally different. In some ways I'm the same, but in some ways I'm different. And this is how you can tell if you've matured or you've grown in your life. Take any old movie or any old song that you used to like, or take any old vegetable or old fruit that you couldn't stand. 9 times out of 10, if you've matured as a person, you used to hate broccoli and spinach when you was a kid, but now you love chicken and broccoli. Now you put broccoli in your salad. Now you love the cream spinach from the fucking steakhouse. You know what I mean? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I'm just going by what I've come across during my lifetime, that a lot of the things that you didn't like when you was younger, you do like as an old head. And some of the things that you thought was popping and banging when you was young, you look back at it now like, how could I ever have done that? How could I ever have liked that? How could I ever have drunken Wild Irish Rose? Oh my God, how? How could I ever have drunken St. Ives when I literally knew that it was liquid crack? When I literally would watch everybody in the dorm room shitting and throwing up the next morning after drinking St. Ives? Why would I continue to drink that? You live and you learn. And hopefully you'll be better tomorrow than you was today. The goal is not to be better than me. The goal is not to be better than KO. The goal is not to be better than your dad or your brother. The goal is to be better than yourself. The goal is to be better than the old you. The goal is to outgrow your bad habits. That's your goal. Your goal ain't to get money. Your goal ain't to get paid. Your goal ain't to get bitches. Your goal is to be better than you was yesterday. Your goal is to be proud of the person that you see when you wake up in the morning, and you don't have to get high to go to sleep at night to avoid the nightmares. Does it matter how much money you got if you can't fucking sleep? Because every time you go to sleep, you see the faces of the motherfuckers' brains you blew out. I'm just saying. You know, everybody's shit is different. Me, I sleep the sleep of the blessed. I don't think about nothing when I sleep because I don't have anything to hide. I don't have anything to fear, and I don't have anything to regret. Now, I'm going to say some shit that's going to make you think I'm crazy. I got a lot to hide. I got a lot to fear, and I got a lot to regret. But I don't hide it. I don't fear it. I don't regret it. I just let it flow and deal with it as it comes. I'm very well aware to know that I'm pepper jack cheese in a world full of welfare. The welfare cheese boy don't even know about pepper jack cheese. What can I say? I had a salmon burger before and they had pepper jack cheese and hollandaise sauce on it. Your dumb ass probably don't even know they make salmon burgers or salmon cheesesteaks or salmon omelets. I'm just using that as an example to show you that I'm a little bit more elevated than your average hood. And I'm not a hood. The only reason I said that is because I live in a hood and I wear a hood, as in neighborhood and hooded sweatshirt. And back again to words. We're back to words again about how words don't necessarily mean what you think they mean. Hood, short for neighborhood. Hood, short for hooded sweatshirt. Hood, short for hoodlum. Which hood am I talking about? For me, neighborhood, hooded sweatshirt, hoodlum. You know what the best hood to represent for me is? Fatherhood. And I'm a father to a whole lot of fuckers I never fathered. Now, let me rephrase that. See, again, words. I'm a father to a whole lot of fuckers I never fathered. What that means is I may have one biological son, but I have several sons who have shined because of the knowledge that they say I have given or dropped, or the heat or the warmth of the sun that I've given to them in the form of knowledge. So if somebody claims you as a father in this day and age, when people don't even bang with their own biological, because the biological generally don't bother, then you got to accept that responsibility and feed them positivity and not negativity. It's not one of my young bulls that could say I ever put a pack in their hand. It's not one of my young bulls that could ever say I put no gun in their hand. But it's a whole bunch of my young bulls that could say I put them on the knowledge. I might have put the Hustler Chronicles in their head. We start off with something light, you know what I'm saying? I might have put the Hidden Power and How to Unleash the Mind. I might have put Twilight of the Gods. I might have put How to Hustle to Win. You know, I might have put Behold the Pale Horse by William Cooper. Shout out William Cooper. If you can get this book, I would suggest that you get it, because anybody, this is like a Conspiracy Theory 101, Illuminati 101 for the beginners. William Cooper was a great man and a great patriot. And what he said was, one basic truth can be used as a foundation for a mountain of lies. And if we dig down deep enough in the mountain of lies and bring out that truth to set it on top of the mountain of lies, the entire mountain of lies will crumble under the weight of that one truth. And there is nothing more devastating to a structure of lies than the revelation of truth upon which the structure of lies was built. Because the shock waves of the revelation of truth reverberate and continue to reverberate throughout the earth for generations to follow, awakening even those people who had no desire to be awakened to the truth. And that's me, man. I just awake people up to the truth. Simple. How can you be a Golden State fan and not even know on the map where Golden State is? Now, simply, just think. You don't have to answer. I'm not trying to embarrass nobody. We're just talking about truth and facts, and I'm keeping it very simple here. Again, how can you be a Golden State fan and not know where Golden State is? How can you drive a BMW and not know what BMW stands for? How can you breed and own and love and have pit bulls for generation after generation and never know that the reason they call them pit bulls because they was bred to fight bulls in the pit? You do know the bullfighter used to have a dog with him to do the job. That's why they bred the pit bull. They took the bulldog and the terrier and bred it to get the pit bull terrier or bulldog to be strong, bold, and aggressive, and, you know, 4 legs, strong, you know, bull. They fight the bull, so you got a bulldog to fight the bull. And you get the terrier, terra, meaning Latin, which means close to the earth, you know, territory, terrain, has to do with the land and the earth. You know what I'm saying? Terra, that's Latin for earth, close to the earth. Most pit bulls, like the bully breeds, are close to the earth. They wide, but their chest and stomach is low to the ground. And they, like the bulldog, have a big fucking head. So now, generation after generation of breeding, you get the pit bull terrier. A strong, aggressive, fast, muscular dog who was trained to kill bulls. So, of course, they would be able to kill, maim, and bite through the skin and bones of a human. I propose to you that every time you listen to OG EBIZZLE, you will learn something. I know that the people who eventually watch this, there's going to be a good percentage of them who own pit bulls who never knew this. There's going to be a good percentage of the people who have driven, continue to drive, or know somebody that drives a BMW who has no idea that BMW stands for Bavarian Motorworks. Germany used to be called Bavaria. Otto von Bismarck unified Germany into one country, and it went from Prussia into Germany. Look up the Prussian Empire, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Look up the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Look up the Byzantine Empire, the Holy Roman Empire. These things go on and stretch back into Babylon, Egypt, and into infinity. It is what it is, man. OG EBIZZLE live in the house. Chief Rocker BD's freestyle fanatic, senior citizen, minister of information and propaganda for the mighty PTG Bird Gang, Philly 444 representative, and the Mitchell and Ness poster boy. Mitchell and Ness, y'all should cut me a check, man. I'm one of the first dudes to represent you guys and put you guys out in the pasture of Philadelphia fashion sense. I mean, shout out to Big Rude, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Los. Shout out to my man Z from up north Philly, used to fuck with Freeway, and all the other assorted drug dealers and hustlers and high money getting cats who populated the fashion of Mitchell and Ness worldwide. Because at one point in time, you could only get Mitchell and Ness if you went to 13th and Walnut. That was the only way you could get it. It wasn't online. It wasn't being shipped to UPS. Hey, what's going on, Mike? It wasn't being shipped to UPS. Hey, man, where you going?
I'm not gonna work.
Oh, well, Mike here, he helped set all this here up, and hopefully one day he'll be on camera with us. Come on, talk to me, man.
How y'all doing, man? Hope y'all enjoying the show, man. You know, my OG gonna give y'all as much knowledge as he possibly can.
Yeah, man.
That's dope.
Yeah, but your man, he keep fucking me up. He just keep putting the tape before I even have a chance to organize my talk. I want to be having, so I want to say as we go further, we got to put it together a little bit better where I'm able to support what I'm saying with the graphics and the quotes from these books. And I want to have it all together before I get started. See, KO just start taping and he don't even tell me, but it's good because, even though these is live, I'm not saying that these is the podcast. These are podcast because it's live,
Right.
but I want to go back into it and edit it and chop it up and put music to it
For sure.
and all that there. And that's why I'm gonna need your help. So
Yeah, I got you. For sure.
thank you, brother. I
You already
appreciate
know.
you, man.
You already know.
I don't get to spend much time with you, and I never had a chance to thank you for everything. But
You already know, Chief. It's all up.
well, my point to you is, you just met me, and you did something for me that my day one's been saying they're gonna do for 1,000 years. I know a bunch of drug dealers. I know a bunch of gangsters. I know a bunch of successful businessmen who have always told me, yo, bro, you need a podcast. You need a podcast. But for the past 2 years, I've been struggling to survive, to even feed myself and my dogs. And they've known this. Motherfuckers can always smoke weed with you. They can always drink liquor with you. They can always chase hoes with you. But nobody invests in you. People be like, you should invest in yourself. How am I investing in myself when I got to pay rent? I got to feed my dog. I got to feed my son. This is the first time in 2 years that I've made more money in a week than I spent. I finally, I'm starting to get back on my feet. The whole time I was struggling, very few people knew. I still kept my hair cut. I still kept the Mitchell and Ness. I still kept in true religion. I never let nobody know I was fucked up. I would even tape myself going to the not the Habitat for Humanity and not the age thing. But they used to give out the free food. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's one of those agencies that gives out Phil Abundance. I used to go to Phil Abundance every Friday and tape myself getting the free food because I had to do that in order to feed myself. And I still wouldn't believe it. They thought it was like a skit for the fucking social media. So I say all that to say that this is a very powerful tool, and I'm a very powerful person. And for somebody that I don't even know to believe in me more than the people who've been telling me my whole life how good I am, they tell you, but they don't show you.
Yeah.
You went on faith, on just a vibe, and put hard-earned money or whatever it was that got this shit jumping. I just appreciate it, man, and it just make me want to go harder and do it because, like I said, so many people have been telling me for so long that I need a podcast. As we speak right now, I'm in Facebook jail. I can't get out of Facebook. I've been in Facebook jail for 72 hours, bro. They sent me money on my books. I've been on Facebook jail for 72 hours, and I feel as though I invented Facebook jail.
Right.
So because I'm constantly getting deleted and banned on Facebook, and Instagram is constantly snatching my posts down, people have always been telling me you need a podcast, but I never really, it's just what I do. I talk like this normally, but if it's going to educate somebody, entertain somebody, and make them look at the way you looking right now, I'm all for it. Like that's such a look of respect. You understand what I'm saying? Like you respect what I'm doing. Like
Keep going, Chief.
Oh man, bro, I'm to the death, bro.
You already know.
To the death, man. To the death, man. You know what I'm saying? To the death of me, man. It's all I know. Knowledge, truth, and understanding. Before I go, man, I'm going to give y'all this. G-O-D, guide your own destiny. Arm, leg, arm, head. I call my brother son because he shine like one. 85% of the people is deaf, dumb, and blind and have no clue what's going on in the world. They caught up in the matrix and stuck in triple stage darkness. No religion, no culture, no God. Triple stage darkness. No religion, nothing to rely on. No culture, no adaptation for good living, and no God. No supreme being or supreme knowledge of self to guide yourself in the wilderness. So you triply blinded. You deaf, dumb, and blind. A child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. God is smiling on you, but he frowning too, because only God knows what you'll go through. You'll grow up in the ghetto, live a second rate, and your eyes will sing a song of deep hate. The places you play and where you stay look like one great big alleyway. Yeah. Feel me on that. Melly Mel, the message. Required listening for any serious student of hip hop. Yeah. The message. And I got a message for you. Watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. Watch your actions because they become your habits. Watch your habits because that defines your character. And watch your character because that shapes your destiny. And just because you are a character doesn't mean you have character. Remember that. OG EBIZZLE, the official, signing off. Dimes of dope. It's just the second one. And remember, these is all freestyle off the top. As we continue and move on, I'm going to have everything out of these notes and books organized into a concise and, should I say, showman-like performance that you can compare to Undisputed, that you can compare to Stephen A. Smith, that you can compare to anything on SportsCenter. Because I personally believe that when it comes to sports, I'm way, way better than them because they can't freestyle like me. They weren't all Catholic and all city athletes like me. They didn't go up against Burt Grossman, Eric Williams, Eddie George like me. They didn't sack Rich Gannon, an MVP from the Oakland Raiders during their Super Bowl year like I did. It's not bragging. It's just factual representation of who I am and why my opinions and my thoughts are valid. And I don't need validation, and I don't need recognition, and I don't need affirmation from those who themselves are not valid, are not recognized, and are not affirmed. You just a worker, and your boss is my man. So the shit you talk, you could say it from the can. You want to know why you in the can and you all fucked up? Because when you bite another's back out, you bound to self-destruct. OG EBIZZLE, live from the wilds of North Philadelphia. I am he who is the most controversial, motivational, inspirational man on all the social media. The bag, man. I got so many bags full of books, man. I'm always like, right? So what we're gonna do right here is what I planned to do before I got here. But KO, man, he always catch me before I get to write this shit down and format what I'm trying to do. Because I'll be having like 1,000 ideas in my head. And then, when I write it down, I'll be trying to format it. But I get here and he just put me on the tape. So This is what it is, man. It's called Dimes of Dope. Now the Dimes, DIMES, that stands for Dynamic, Intelligent, Motivational, Education, and Sports. Dynamic, Intelligent, Motivational, Education. DIMES. Now, we have to make up something for O and F. I haven't got to that part yet, but again, dynamic, intelligent, motivational, educational, sports. Dominant, organized, progressive education. Dimes of Dope. It's an acronym where the letters symbolize something else. Now, again, coming from the drug world, dimes, a dime of knowledge, $10 worth. You know what I'm saying? Not that much. Dope, not drugs, but dope as in, yo, dude is dope. That's a dope car. That's a dope song. Like, I'm from the era when dope meant like extra good. It didn't mean like heroin. You know what I'm saying? Dope meant that's a dope car. That's a dope chain. Yo, OG, that's a dope ass hoodie. Where you get that shit from? Yeah, I know it's dope. You ain't gonna see too many people with this hoodie because very few people is gonna pay $175 for a hoodie. You know what I mean? You know the reason I paid $175 for this hoodie? Because I didn't pay $175 for this hoodie. It cost $175. But I was smart enough to go on the Super Bowl sale that Mitchell & Ness used to always have on Super Bowl weekend. They would always have a half off sale. Again, this was before social media. This was before the internet. This was before tweeting and twittering. The only way you knew about the half off sale is if you was a Mitchell & Ness customer and you constantly came to Mitchell & Ness and you knew about the half off sale. Or you was humble enough to ask a brother like me who used to see at the Sixers games or at the Eagles games or on Delaware Avenue or at Palmer or at Transit. You always see me in one of these hoodies or one of them throwback jerseys. This is before most people knew what it was. And you would ask me and I'd be like, yo, Mitchell & Ness, 13th and Walnut. Because I ain't no hater. You know, a lot of people would say, oh, I got it from the mail. I got it here. I got it there. Send you on a wild goose chase. I ain't like that. Because first of all, I know you ain't paying $175 for the hoodie. You ain't getting no money like that. I can look at you, how you getting down and tell you ain't getting no money like that. So I don't have to worry about you getting it. And two, I don't give a fuck if you get it because you're not going to weigh it out and match it and finesse it like me, So it don't matter. I'm going to shine regardless. I want everybody to shine because no matter how much you shine, I'm still going to get mine because I'm original. I'm an original hip hop kid pushing the speakers through the snow. That Beat Street shit, I lived that. That wild style shit, I lived that. And I'm still here to tell the tale. And I look just as good or better now than I did then. As a matter of fact, I look better now because I had the big ass rabbit teeth. My dental work is right now. You understand what I'm saying? My skin was all porked up and liquored up and coked up. I got the shea butter and the sea moss shine now. So I look way better now than I did then. Now, I might have got way more pussy then than I do now. But it's not quantity of the pussy that you get. It's the quality of the pussy that you get. And right about now, y'all not getting no pussy. The pussy is getting you. Okay. Dynamic or dynamite in the dimes of dope. That's explosive, that's intelligent, that's motivation, entertainment. Dominant. Dominate your own thoughts, your ideas, your feelings. You got to organize these ideas into a concise game plan. Make continual and daily progress towards your goals. To be educated and aware of what's going on, not only in the world, but in your own mind. Words are weapons. My Uzi weighs a ton. And words are powerful. Words are so powerful, they create spells. This is why they call them spelling words. Woo! Words. Niggas. N-E-G-U-S. Nagas. N-A-G-G-A-S. King. One who is high and lofty. The misinterpreted, bastardized version of this would be nigger. Ignorant person. It's not what you called that matters so much as what you answer to. If society can't save the many who are poor, then they can't do much for the few who are rich. You can't separate peace from freedom, because when you're not free, how can you be peaceful? And if I'm not peaceful, I'm going to make sure you lay in pieces. OG EBIZZLE, live with the knowledge. And finally, for all my God bodies, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, freedom, justice, and equality, food, clothing, and shelter, love, peace, and happiness. Happiness, peace, and love, shelter, clothing, and food, equality, justice, and freedom, understanding, wisdom, and knowledge. They're all connected, and you can't have one without the other. Knowledge comes before happiness. So if you're dumb, you're never going to be happy. Wisdom comes before understanding. So if you're wise, you will always understand what's happening to you. You can't be free without justice, and you can't have no justice without equality, and you can't be equal if you're starving, naked, with no place to live. And how you gonna have love, peace, and happiness when you're starving, naked, with no place to live? You are happy because you are loved. You are loved because you at peace. You at peace because you got food, clothing, and shelter. You got food, clothing, and shelter because you got equality. Because you got equality, they got to give you justice. And because you got justice, you're free to do as you please. And because you're free to do as you please, you learn how to understand life. And because you understand life, you got wisdom. And because you got wisdom, you got knowledge. And when you got knowledge, you know the ledge, so you won't fall off into the uncivilization of the dunya. OG EBIZZLE, live, gang, fucking gang. Yo, KO. 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 I'm trying to end the stream. It's cool. Just how do you turn it off? I keep pressing end stream, but it won't stop. You know, while we waiting on KO to end the stream, I'm going to give y'all some more knowledge here. Right here. Right off the Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Y'all get some of this. Some of this base for your face. Man, listen. Say Joel Embiid can have either an AC sprain or an SC sprain. Depending on the grade, it can sideline Embiid anywhere from 7 to 10 days to 3 to 4 weeks. Damn. That's fucked up.